Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. Game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandro Luketic. And today we're talking 1995's A Goofy Movie. Who cares about spoilers?
No!
We've all seen this.
No.
Yes.
Don't do this 2 episodes in a row, Ben. Just...
We assume if you're listening to this episode, you've already seen the movie.
Yay!
Now, thank you. Now, I have to say, we are lucky enough tonight to be joined by second-generation referee Emily Parker, who I'm told loves this film. Emily, welcome to the show. And please tell us why we are talking A Goofy Movie tonight.
Because it is one of the best movies ever. That's it. It is one of the best movies ever.
I can't really argue with that.
No.
There's going to be a strong defense coming for this. I warn you now.
Oh, geez.
So, Emily, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself to the listeners and then we can move forward.
Okay. Well, hello, listeners. I'm Emily Parker. I'm a second-generation pro wrestling referee from Truro, Nova Scotia, and I'm super excited to be here. I've been reffing for about almost 8 years now, so I've been at it for a little bit, and I love A Goofy Movie. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've been watching it for a very long time, so I'm really excited to talk about it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Now, you've made it quite clear why you're here. Ben, I'm flipping the script and I'm going to ask you, what is your history with this movie?
I watched this movie, I think, the second day after it hit VHS, and I fell in love with it. I have watched it countless times. However, I have to make sure you both know that those countless times were within the year 1995. It has been a very long time. I have not seen it since then. My only 2 memories of this movie were Pauly Shore and Bigfoot. Which, honestly, if anybody told me, like, we're going to watch a movie, it has Pauly Shore and Bigfoot, it'd be like, #1 movie of all time.
Had you seen the sequel?
I have, and I don't remember it.
What about you, Emily?
I have, and it's not the same.
No, it's not.
At all.
But it's still worth watching. It's just not as good.
No, it's not one that I would go and choose to rewatch like I would the first one.
Sandra, what's your history with this?
Oh man, I have watched this movie, I can't even count how many times. And I watched it quite a few times with my twin sister. I'm sure if she's never listened to this show before, she's listening to this one. So shout out to my twin sister, Taya. I love this movie. I am unapologetically a fan of it. I'm not even going to try to hide my adoration for it. And I'm going to let everybody know right now that if I do any nitpicking during the movie, it is just to have fun with it. It does not bring down my view of the movie in the slightest.
But how do you really feel?
I hate it.
I was waiting for that.
Just to let everybody know, we're not playing our game today. So Ben is free from embarrassing himself, trying to figure out which of these voices we've seen in past episodes.
I'll still embarrass myself, don't worry.
Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about some of the cast? You don't have to guess, but some of the voice actors. Emily, what did you think of some of the voice actors in this?
I was surprised. I thought that I wouldn't know a lot of the actors in it, but I did know a couple. Pauly Shore, I didn't realize was Pauly Shore.
How did you not? It's clearly Pauly Shore. It couldn't be anybody else.
I was so young when I saw the movie. I didn't know who Pauly Shore was.
I'm out.
5-year-old me did not know who Pauly Shore was.
He wanted to be uncredited in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it came out a little after Aladdin. And Robin Williams wanted to be uncredited in Aladdin because he didn't want the movie to sell just on his name. He believed in the movie. And Pauly Shore, similarly, didn't want this movie to be advertised, whether it's a failure or like a hit, because of him, because he didn't have a major role in it.
Huh.
He also had a really weird deal with Disney because he did those 3 big movies for, I think it was Touchstone at the time. So this was a lesser role for him. I think he was really trying to get out of it, or he wanted to prolong it, and this was just his last ditch effort. But after this, like the year after, we get Biodome and stuff like that, which, I mean, it's an amazing movie.
Though, from what I was able to find out online, in the World Wide Web, he improvised almost all of his lines.
I'm not surprised because he's playing himself the entire time.
Did you know any of the other voice actors, Ben?
I mean, Jim Cummings, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say, I'm completely forgetting his name right now. Who? Fred.
The guy that plays the principal of the school.
Wallace Shawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people would know him from Princess Bride, but he's done a million things.
He's the T-Rex in Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I forgetting his name now?
I don't know.
Something. He is the voice of Megatron and Fred in Scooby-Doo.
Frank Welker.
Frank Welker. Thank you. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, there are some big names in this movie. I just didn't pick up on them.
Yeah, Max is voiced by James Marsden, who's done
Jason.
a lot. Yes, I did that same thing last time when we did Dragons of Autumn's Twilight, didn't I?
Yeah, I knew you'd bring this up. Nerd.
Stacy is voiced by Jenna Von Oy. The very small role of Chad, who is the guy that is going to ask Roxanne out when Max thinks he's going to lose his date with her, is actually voiced by Joey Lawrence from Money Plane fame.
Oh.
In the original version of the movie.
That's what he's known from. Money Plane.
It's so good.
Whoa.
He originally, that character originally had a much larger role, but they, I guess, cut it all down because this is a very quick runtime movie. Like, it's about an hour, 17, 18 minutes. So it breezes by.
You say that.
Oh, jeez. I'm worried now. So anyway, the voice cast, I think, is stellar all around. I do find it ridiculous sometimes when you see things like Frank Welker playing Bigfoot. It's like, you're using one of the like best voice actors ever for like a nothing role.
Grunting.
Yeah, right? You think you'd give him a lot more to do.
It was great. What are you
It was, but like, come on, it doesn't even like talk. It's grunts.
I will give you that for sure. Yes.
Like, if I was doing a movie and I had Frank Welker available, I'm giving him a prominent role, or at least a speaking role.
Jim Cummings, though.
Yeah.
Can we all give him credit for his massive roles that he's done before? Do we know Jim Cummings?
Yeah, I don't know any of the voice actors in this movie.
Obviously. So, of course, Pete. We know that. Fat Cat. Chippendale, Rescue Rangers. No? Anyone hear of Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If you listen to Pete's voice, it's Winnie the Pooh.
And Tigger.
And Tigger, yes.
Oh, wow.
Tasmanian Devil.
Balto. Gaston of Beauty and the Beast.
Everything.
Oh, Brave Little Toaster.
Exactly. Biggest name in the movie, I would say, for voice acting.
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
I didn't think I would add anything to this episode, but you're all welcome.
All right, so let's get into this movie proper. Ben, take us away, my friend.
Okay. So, opening dream sequence where Max finds himself running through a wheat field, discovering Roxanne on a podium, and things quickly turn into a nightmare scenario where Max turns into his father, much to Roxanne's dismay. That's a lot. It's a lot for a Disney cartoon to open with. I was very curious to know what you two thought about this really quick, dark turn and what is supposed to be a really happy, fun, safe movie.
Not what I would expect for the beginning of something that would have Goofy in it, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
When his teeth grow, I got really scared. Like, got kind of dark. And then he turns into Goofy, and it's not so bad. But, like, yeah, this... I mean, I get it. There's a fear of becoming his dad, or his dad embarrassing himself. But it doesn't really fit with the rest of the movie.
No, the only thing that I can really think of is that it just kind of portrays his mindset at the beginning of everything, how he feels about his dad and how he feels that his dad is going to affect him, the sky getting darker and darker and darker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's weird, too, because this movie came off of the popularity of the show Goof Troop.
I loved that show.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But if you remember that show, he wasn't like this kind of timid or like he was a confident character. It was very weird to watch this movie after that show and see him as this more like nerdy character, this outcast character.
Very awkward.
Which is also really strange because he's a little bit older in the movie than he was in the show. They actually had to change the voice actor for that reason. But the fact that with Max, yes, he's afraid of becoming his father, but he has no clear direction as a character. I can't believe we're actually getting this deep into this character, but
I love it. I love it. I love it.
He is so afraid of who he will become because he doesn't even know who he is yet. He's dealing with teenage emotions, which we'll get to. But the fact that he doesn't know who he is and he's afraid of who he's going to be because that person could be his father is a really heavy-handed move for Disney. I truly appreciate it.
That makes so much sense because when you don't know who you are, you could go in any direction. If he knew who he was and where he was headed, he wouldn't have this fear.
Yes, but no member of the target audience for this movie is going to understand the main theme of this movie.
No.
Does anybody else find that strange?
I find it strange, but at the same time, Disney always seems to kind of throw in that adult humor or some sort of something. But in this case, it's almost the whole movie, which is really interesting.
There's a lot that a younger audience can enjoy in this movie. I know I enjoyed it as a younger person. I had fun with it, and there was a lot of the undertones that I didn't understand until later viewings. And I think that is fantastic because giving it that twofold like personality, so to speak, lets it open itself up to multiple audiences, which is obviously just a smart move for any movie to do.
I'm with you there the entire way. The weird thought I had about this, though, is as a kid watching the film, what about it did I appreciate so much? Because it seems so over the top, heavy handed, as I mentioned before, that I ignored any childish enjoyment of what was happening. It just seemed way too intense.
I think because there's singing in it, that kind of breaks it up a little bit because a lot of the songs throughout the movie are quite upbeat. Except for the one at the end, Nobody Else But You.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other songs throughout the movie are quite upbeat and happy and comedic in some ways. So it kind of breaks that up.
Well, I think I know what Ben is referring to, and it's more just the mentality of the first time you watch it. Is that you're not met with all of that cheeriness. The first thing you see is this scene, and it kind of sets you up for something that you weren't expecting when you go into this movie fresh, because you see the poster, you see the advertisements, it's fun, it's goofy, it's not supposed to have this heavy-handedness, and then you get hit with this right away. But it is so short-lived that I don't think it has that lasting of an impact.
No.
I would tend to disagree, but I also did not remember this movie being a musical at all. I did not remember any songs other than the fact that, the whole Powerline thing.
The Powerline songs are in my YouTube playlist on a regular rotation.
Yeah, they're on my Spotify. We've definitely listened to them on the road.
And I like, Rad is still like the top soundtrack of any movie we've covered, but this one is pretty close.
No.
Yeah.
Kevin Campbell.
No.
It's possibly like overtaking Rad, but I mean, Thunder in Your Heart is so hard to top. But it's up there. It is up there. It's like 1A, 1B.
Bike dancing, man. Bike dancing and ass sliding from Rad. Can't top that. We need to get into this movie a bit more.
I don't know. I was enjoying this deep analysis of it that you wouldn't expect from a Disney movie.
Nor does it deserve.
Oh, come on.
We have our sides. They are now obvious. So the point of this podcast now is for you two to convince me this is a good movie.
No.
Okay, so we agree it's not.
No, it's a great movie, but if you can't enjoy that, that's your problem.
No, there are certain things about this movie I enjoy for sure. But
all right.
let's continue along with the plot. So Max wakes to PJ's phone call letting him know he's late. Okay. This just leads us into Goofy's intro.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about Goofy here?
I love him.
It's Goofy. Like, that is the only way to describe it. He bursts in the door and he's Goofy.
Yeah. Goofy is amazing. And the way they brought him into the movie was perfect because, like we said, the opening sequence is pretty intense. And then you get our lovable friend just showing up.
Yeah, and that's the pressure release, right? Like,
exactly.
We're now, okay, this is what you're actually getting.
And this is great writing. And I have to say, this is also one of the, I think, 3 writers of the film. One of the screenwriters is Chris Matheson, who, son of Richard Matheson, who wrote my favorite book, I Am Legend. Also wrote the screenplays for the Bill and Ted movies. And I see a lot of that humor in this. So Goofy vacuuming up everything in Max's room and ruining Max's cardboard cutout. How do we feel about this scene?
Who had a cardboard cutout?
It was the 90s.
I had one for Men in Black.
Really?
Yeah, full size.
Like, I had posters in my room, but I didn't have cardboard cutouts to take up too much floor space.
That's why you put them on the wall.
Okay, well, then they're not going to get vacuumed up for Goofy to ruin.
Fine. Floor space is an issue. I'll go with you on this one. Good God.
Oh, Ben, you're going to hate me by the end of this.
By the end of it.
Oh, no.
So yeah, the power line cutout's ruined. Kind of, not really. There's a thing called tape. But then we get a musical sequence.
I find it hilarious because before the musical sequence, Max is trying to tell his dad, like, he's running late, and the dad offers him a ride to school, and he doesn't want it. But Goofy takes his lack of time as a good time to start mamboing.
And the mambo just shows up again later.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, Goofy's giving a shout out to Xavier Cugat, the Mambo King.
You lost me.
You can't just let that slide.
I didn't even know there was a Mambo King.
He says it.
I know, but I still didn't know there was a Mambo King.
Well, I don't know if that's real. That's just in the script. I didn't research it.
It probably is. Let's just accept it to be fact.
Well, Powerline's not real.
What are you talking about?
And he's the biggest rock star.
Well, and that's exactly it, because Goofy doesn't know who it is in the cardboard cutout. And Max says he's only the biggest rock star ever, Powerline, wearing a Devo costume.
Which is hilarious, because Powerline is Tevin Campbell, who is like a pop singer in the 90s, who also played Little T in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in season 1.
Yeah, he did.
Rumor had it that this role was originally going to be Bobby Brown.
Before that was Michael Jackson.
I didn't hear about the Michael Jackson. So, like, the look, it's like he's wearing like a Devo costume. He's meant to be like a mixture of Michael Jackson's dancing. Bobby Brown was supposed to do the songs. So, like, it makes sense that they just made up Powerline, which, you know, Goofy's response to, oh, he's not a bigger rock star than Xavier Cugat. Yeah, Xavier Cugat should be made up. I'm going to look this up. How do you spell Cugat?
That's on you, man.
Oh my God, Xavier Cugat, Spanish musician and band leader.
There is a Mambo King.
From Havana, Cuba. Oh, boom. Okay, go ahead with what happens next, Ben.
Jesus Christ. Okay, the point of the musical number, talking about how Max is going to make Roxanne finally notice him. Finally, now we're getting into the kid perspective of the movie. And like, we assume for Max, like first love, which is always going to be intense, over the top, and that plays out through the movie. So now we're on the kid level of the movie, which is great.
Yeah, because you get the song After Today. You get almost like a montage of different occurrences.
The name of the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not complicated names to the songs.
So I'm the weird one here.
Yes.
Fine.
So anyway, it gives you the opportunity on his way to school to see, just different stereotypes, different funny animations, a few like random things. Like he can't open the gate. He has to jump over it. There's two actual characters wearing like Star Trek shirts that, they bring up the comics. That's the first time Disney references Star Trek, if I'm not mistaken, directly. But it's a fun scene, and that's what gets the kids into it. I imagine that probably most people don't even remember the original opening scene. And when they think back to this movie, this is kind of where it starts for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I truly appreciate how the sequence ends, though, with Max falling down the bleachers, being helped up by Roxanne, and then just running away like Batman in Mask of the Phantasm.
That's all Batman does is run away.
Well, he does the goofy laugh and then runs away horrified.
Yeah, we've all been there. More hints at Max and PJ's plan without fully giving away, which I love, because it's kind of like a little bit of mystery. These two best friends are planning something. You're not really sure what it is. But then we get the wonderful intro of Bobby. I love Bobby. He's great. And it really is Pauly Shore going full weasel.
Mm-hmm. But in a good way.
It's never a bad way.
That's all I can see when I see Pauly Shore now.
Is Bobby?
Yeah.
Was this your intro to Pauly?
It was. I was only 5 when this movie came out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Quick cameo from Justin.
I tried, guys, but that was good.
Oh man, she said she saw this when she was 5, and I felt my beard getting grayer.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite parts of this movie, though. Like, you put Pauly Shore in anything, I'm in, except for Pauly Shore is dead.
Yeah, but he needs fundage, bro. Fundage.
Cheddar!
Assembly at the school. We get our intro to Principal Mazur, who said is what, Wallace Shawn?
Wallace Shawn, yeah.
Wallace Shawn. And this is where Max's plan gets put into action. And that's acting out a Powerline music video, or is it an improvised live performance? Could go either way.
I don't think it's so much the music video as it is the dance from the music video. I love that the plan starts with them opening a trap door that Principal Mazur falls down. Not sure how many schools are equipped with those, but I love it.
Only the good ones. What are our thoughts on this?
I get pumped as soon as it starts.
Yeah, you can't help but get pumped.
When Max trips over the wire and then like rolls out in front of the audience and the crowd just cheers, you get such a good feeling. It's just like, it's such a feel-good movie.
Yes.
I don't think it is a feel-good movie.
Okay, Ben, the party pooper, go ahead.
No, I think it's a lot more important than that. Eventually it turns into that, but for the most part of this movie is sad boy Max dealing with the emotions we all dealt with when we were like 13 years old. Like, it's super honest. It's unapologetic for the most part, which I found incredibly strange, but I did really appreciate.
Yeah, it's very relatable too. I remember when I was dancing in front of a school assembly.
Yeah, well, you didn't do musical theater now, did you?
But I'm sure everybody can relate to, liking somebody and wanting to impress them and thinking, oh, they think I'm invisible. What am I going to do? Those are all things that anybody can relate to.
And also the combination of public embarrassment, right? Because that is also part of this. Before the crowd accepts him, he's hiding, right? So, yeah, it's fun. Ben just doesn't want to have fun with this.
At the same time, though, nobody knows it's Max until the sunglasses come off.
Well, yeah, because, glasses hide your identity. We've learned that.
The S stands for hope, Sandro. So, cut to Goofy working as a photographer at a department store or a mall. I didn't remember that at all.
It looked like, like a department store.
Yeah.
And he works with Pete, which makes me wonder how much money Pete makes.
Enough, apparently.
Yeah, he must be an amazing photographer.
You can see how talented he is. What do you two think of Pete?
I hate him.
Why?
Because he's a jerk. He's mean to Goofy. He takes advantage of him whenever he can. He tells him that his kid is a bad kid. What kind of a friend is that?
Are they friends, though?
5-year-old me assumed that they were.
Yeah, it's a really weird pairing. I agree with you. I do. I always saw them as friends, but there is no reason for us to believe that a friendship between Goofy and Pete actually exists. It's almost like they're stuck together and can't separate. Because
of the kids. They stay together for the kids.
Well, you're probably carrying over some of the Goof Troop, knowledge to this, because in that they were next door neighbors, right? And now in this, they're working together. So yeah, you can see that they're probably just kind of stuck together. But I disagree. I don't think Pete is that bad in this movie.
I like Pete a lot. And
he's very diabolical in a lot of other roles, but in this one, he's giving Goofy some genuine advice that just doesn't fit the situation. He's not trying to hurt Goofy.
It just seems like he was playing devil's advocate all the time. And maybe that's kind of what it annoyed me almost.
Well, you're definitely allowed to be annoyed by him.
Yeah. It really did seem like he was trying to give Goofy what he believed to be good advice because he's a bad parent and what he does, he thinks is working. It's really interesting.
It's not coming from a bad place. It's not the right advice for the right time, but it's not like he's trying to hurt Goofy or put him in a bad position.
At the same time, though, it does feel like he's reveling in being the one to tell Goofy later in the movie about what Max does to the map.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he definitely builds himself up a little by putting other people down.
Yeah.
But again, he's not giving him fake information. He's just reveling in the truth that he's sharing. It's a gray area for sure.
I don't know. It's a really interesting take on Pete here. I really like it. I think the whole photography scene, though, is great. You see Goofy, how well he works with kids and gets great photos. And then you see Pete having to stick a kid to the table.
The Velcro.
Yeah.
And she still escapes.
Yes, she does.
She just takes her diaper off, just runs off.
The conversation about the importance of the bond between father and son, leading to the idea of going camping or the fishing trip, is incredibly organic in this movie, and I'm stunned because I'm not enjoying what I'm seeing, but I'm constantly being taken aback by how well it's doing what it's trying to do. And that's where I think I'm missing something from this film, because it is not bad. It's just not at all what I remember. So it's kind of like watching a movie for the first time and having all of your memories just thrown aside. Do either of you remember this scene from when you were kids?
Yep.
Okay. The detention scene. We get the Leaning Tower of Cheesa. Thank you, Bobby.
Mhm.
Bobby is so great.
The whole idea of Stacy's party to watch the Powerline performance. Max asking Roxanne if she wants to go, and she's totally into it, which causes him to aggressively dance with the secretary, or Mambo, going back to Sandra's discovery.
You don't remember the name, do you?
And nor should I.
Oh, man. Xavier Coogan. Mambo King.
Emily, did you remember the name?
No, I did not.
Thank you.
I think it's hard. It's very difficult for me to hide my fandom of this movie.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just email you my notes right now, and you're gonna take over here.
Who needs notes?
Me! I need notes. I need them very badly.
I told you I didn't need to watch this movie again this week to be able to review it.
So Mazur calls Goofy and rats out Max, making things sound a lot worse than they are. And I mean, a lot.
See, this is worse than anything that Pete does in this movie. Because he, Principal Mazur, he is actually twisting the truth to make it sound worse. Mm-hmm. Whereas Pete is just telling it like it is for some unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, I do not disagree.
Principal Mazur goes as far as to say that he's going to end up in the electric chair because he got a riot going. It's like he did a dance number. He
lip synced.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like there's more behind this. There was attitude behind that statement.
No, he just lip synced, and he's going to the electric chair for lip syncing.
The chair
for
dancing. Yeah.
How dare they dance?
Mazur's the problem.
This is just footloose. Okay. This causes Goofy to plan a fishing trip with Max. I've always loved the trope of the fishing trip in movies. Things like Gone Fishing with Joe Pesci and Danny Glover. I know neither of you have seen this movie, and I'm sure Justin's like, what's he talking about?
Yeah.
Highly recommend watching this. It's the road trip. The classic road trip story, I think, works every time. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely.
Of course. It sets off a sequence of events that create all these opportunities for crazy and fun adventures.
And I love how Max doesn't want a part of that, because as he's leaving school that day, we see how the students loved his performance, and how now Max, the invisible little goof, is now the cool kid.
Yes, because dancing is very popular.
It's a great way to build up confrontation that we see later on down the road, because now finally this young kid he's attained something he's been craving. And he did it through embarrassment and then a quick rise in confidence. And now that's going to be taken from him. And we get a third musical scene. Max's walk home. Well, quote, walk.
Well, yeah, it's just a continuation of the song Stand Out from his assembly.
I want to say that I feel, for the most part, with maybe one or two exceptions, we don't need these songs.
Why? They're fun. These songs are awesome.
But are they songs for song's sake?
Come on, man.
I think they're songs that they depict how he's feeling. You know, he just had this awesome performance. He's the cool kid. He's pumped up. So they're using a song that, you know, he's celebrating almost.
Perfect explanation. I fully accept that. This is, I think you both can tell, this was a hard watch for me.
I don't understand how.
I don't either. I did not expect this. I'm confused. I feel invisible. I think I need to go on a road trip.
Go fishing.
Yeah. But this is where Goofy tells Max that they are going fishing.
Going fishing? Me and my best friend. Donald Duck?
The younger Goof is unimpressed.
Devastation.
Yeah. I did like the presentation of the fishing rod passed down through generations. That was nice. And I love how it comes back. Again, surprisingly good writing for this movie.
Yeah, but these two really need to work on their communication skills, because the entire rest of this movie could have been sorted out by just a proper conversation.
That is in my notes. So much further down the list. I had said that exact same thing.
Yeah.
But then this movie doesn't exist. And then you two are sad.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't want you two to be sad.
Nitpicking just to have something to talk about. But yes, the movie would be very short if this situation Max just said, well, the principal was exaggerating. I just did a dance. And can we go fishing later? Because I have a date.
Yeah.
My first date.
But Max refuses to go. And we see something really weird from Goofy that nobody touches on. He tries to guilt his son into it.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy the manipulator is not a character I thought I would ever see.
Because he's hanging out with Pete.
He's a bad influence.
Bad influence.
That makes perfect sense.
It has no impact on Max, too. He's like, all right, send me a postcard.
One of the biggest laughs I had in this movie, and Sandro, I think you too, Emily, I'm not sure, but when they get in the car and he backs out of the driveway and he's like, goodbye house, goodbye mailbox.
Goodbye.
But it's already like busted through his fence. And he's like, goodbye pile of broken wood.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I laughed.
I did too.
Not the biggest laugh I had in the movie, but
I was just going to ask that. The biggest laughs we had in the movie. Because it's going to be different for all of us. So let's just cover it right now. Sandro.
No.
Emily.
There's so many.
I'll tell you when it comes up.
Justin.
You need somebody to answer him.
Bigfoot dancing always made me laugh.
Yeah, when he started popping his shoulders.
Yeah. Well, there's Bee Gees, guys. Come on.
Lester's Possum Park is also up there too.
Which, sorry?
Lester's Possum Park.
Oh my God. Amazing.
That's actually my favorite moment, and it's one of my awards. But it is Max's interaction with Lester when he slaps his mask completely backwards. And in the background, you see all the little kids just gang up and start beating on him.
And drag him away.
Yeah, that guy's going to have a bad day.
For me, it's Goofy cramming the possum hat on Max's head, and the hat just looks like a dead possum. I kind of want that hat.
All right.
But they take a quick stop by Roxanne's house. What are our thoughts on the reveal of Roxanne's father?
I said that that's going to be Justin as a dad.
No, but right down to just the boxers, though.
Yeah.
I just don't wear a shirt, but yeah, it's my hair, my rules. I'm going to wear what I want.
And the first boy that shows up to take his daughter out or talk to his daughter, I could see him just grunting.
I do love how when Roxanne comes back and she's like, it's okay, Daddy, he's a friend from school. All of a sudden he just like leans over and pats her on the head and has a big smile on his face.
He softens.
It's a really funny scene, though. Again, I did laugh, but breaking the news to Roxanne does not take it well. And he does what any kid would do, and that is panic and make up the biggest lie you possibly could.
Well, yeah, I mean, he said it's got to be some sort of dork record breaking a date within an hour.
I mean, we've been there, right?
No.
I've been there, right?
Probably.
Yeah. I didn't say I was going to go see like Michael Jackson and be on stage with him, though. I mean, that would have been great. I wish I did at the time. But saying like you're going to wave to her when he's on stage with Powerline for the final song, like how deep of a grave do you have to dig yourself before you're like, you know what? I should have just given up.
And he was desperate.
Yeah, that's a huge panic.
That's more than desperation. That is, it made me uncomfortable. It made me really uncomfortable in that awkward humor kind of way. Like the reasons why I can't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm or Arrested Development. I was so uncomfortable. I felt so bad for this kid. But then Goofy just tries to video the road trip. And I can tell by that laugh, you're totally into this part.
Oh, yeah. but I love Goofy throughout this whole movie. There's just this this naivety almost and this innocence to him that I just find so precious, and I just enjoy him so much throughout the whole movie. Everything he does throughout the movie just makes me smile or laugh or feel something.
Well, it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
Even like watching it today, like this year, 2024, it's just so nice to see somebody so innocent and bubbly and fun and in a positively naive way. Like, Goofy is a timeless character for a reason, and this movie is the perfect example of why he works so well.
Yeah, but the one thing he doesn't do is listen to his son.
So he's also realistic.
All he wants is for them to make a connection, but he doesn't listen.
No,
even not even just like his words. You get into the battle with like the radio. Max turns on the radio, and Goofy's like, "Oh, so you want to sing a song?" and tries to change it. It's like, read the room, dude.
That's why he whips out the 8-track.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not taking his son into consideration. He's only looking at this connection from his side of it.
Of course. I don't think Goofy planned to be a parent.
No, but I'm just saying, like, he is absolutely fantastic, but he is a flawed character himself. And that's part of his growth in the movie, is that he has to start to look at things from his son's point of view as well. It's a two-way street.
It is, but it's also a mid-90s Disney film. So we either go into this full on or we don't touch it. Outside of this, well, I guess you could say that for most Disney characters. You put them in a different show or a different movie, and they're going to act differently than they normally would. You look at like Chip and Dale. Before Rescue Rangers, they were just chattering at each other. I feel like Goofy isn't a character that you should put this much actual weight on. And that is 100% a legitimate problem I have with this. Because he was always supposed to be that idiotic character who always failed but would come out on top. And it was always by chance. It was never by cognitive ability. So it's interesting that this is a character that Disney would have chosen to try and evolve, because the reason why he worked so well is that he didn't have to.
So deep.
Sandro, I'm sorry?
So deep. I love it.
Am I embarrassing myself again?
No, I love it.
Okay. Do we all remember that old Disney short where it was narrated while Goofy was like exercising in his apartment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a DVD collection of all of those shorts.
Yes,
in a metal tin.
Yes. That to me is Goofy, not him trying to navigate the difficult roads of parenthood. That is my biggest memory of him. So I appreciated it that they tried it here. I don't know if it necessarily worked. I kind of wish they left that alone. But then we get things like the road games, like we talked about before. And Sandra, you're saying the fight over the radio and the music. I enjoyed that. But that leads us into another song, which I'm going to guess has The Open Road in the title. Sandra, am I correct here?
The title is On the Open Road. So
close
enough. You almost had it, yeah.
Do we have any thoughts on this song montage? It's okay to say no.
No, it's a cute little song, and it, tries to break up the tense moment. But yeah.
I have one thing from when I was a child even that bothered me about this sequence.
What's that?
And it's the corpse opening the coffin and dancing on top of the hearse.
The hearse.
Like, there's a lot of ridiculous stuff going on, and there's a lot of references to pop culture. Like the singing nuns are supposed to be a reference to Sister Act. The sequenced glove coming out of the limo, that's Michael Jackson, right? But then just randomly you have a corpse that's in the back of a hearse in the coffin. And then the scene cuts, and it's dancing on top of the hearse. It freaks me out. That's all.
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's kooky, but when you think about it, it's a little weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves there.
Just makes me wonder, like, who thought that would be a good idea? Like, oh, let's put a dancing corpse on top of a hearse.
I'm right there with you. I have no idea.
Who approved this?
90s Disney did at least try a few more envelope pushing things.
That's true. They did.
For better or worse.
This brings us to, I think I can safely say, one of all of our favorite parts, and that is the stop at Lester's Possum Park.
Yes.
The shot of the mother dragging her screaming kid inside was one of the funniest things I've seen in a very long time.
What does it take for Ben to enjoy a movie? Watch a kid getting tortured.
I mean, yeah.
The original script had it where Goofy was trying to take them somewhere else, and they kept getting signs like, 5 miles from this, 2 miles from this, and it says turn right, and then Goofy just turns left into Lester's instead.
Oh.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. But then it wouldn't have made sense for him to have the familiarity with the park.
Yeah. But the Possum Park is it's a nightmare. It
is.
It really is. It's like Nightmare at Niagara Falls. I don't know if anyone's been there.
No.
But it is a horror house.
It's the horror version of Chuck E. Cheese, right? Like if Silent Hill turned into a decrepit place, this is what the Chuck E. Cheese would look like.
Exactly.
It kind of reminded me of this place here, Magic Valley. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Magic Valley, but it's like this park, I guess. And it had it was kind of the same idea as Lester's, except it wasn't possums, obviously. But it had like singing mannequins, like at Lester's. And they were really scary, and they moved awkwardly, and sometimes one would get stuck and it would jerk around a little bit before it would work again. Yeah, and it was supposed to be for kids, and they would sing popular songs, and yeah, it was terrifying. And our parents brought us there almost every summer for a few years.
Oh God, sign me up for that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds like you do not agree. It was not amazing.
No, I wasn't a fan. It freaked me out. And then there was this part where you would walk through the woods, and it would have these little houses of different fairy tales, and then they would have these mannequins dressed up like the characters, but the mannequins were terrifying.
Yeah, this is not a place I'd want to go to.
I'm down right now. I would do that in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me?
Well, somebody went in there a few years ago. It's been closed for a little while now, but somebody went in there. The place is totally abandoned, or it was at the time.
This sounds like Willy's Wonderland. Nick Cage movie? No?
No, I haven't seen it.
No? Lost you both?
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. No, I'll just stop. Anybody out there watch Willy's Wonderland? It's kind of like Nick Cage killing everything from...
It's Five Nights at Freddy before they made Five Nights at Freddy the movie.
Yeah. But yes, go back to the Possum Posse Jamboree. And like you said, Emily, one of the robots just shorting out. I can't believe that you would experience the exact same thing, because that also made me laugh out loud.
But the little girl that was kicking and screaming being dragged in is now sitting next to Max and having a great time.
Oh, yeah.
She's absolutely terrifying.
Glasses and the missing teeth.
So this, trauma-inducing park is something that makes you want to go there, but a little kid with a gap in her teeth, you're like, not having any of that.
No,
of course not. The way that she looks over at Max is, I am going to kill you.
Even the way she sings is creepy.
Yeah. But then we get that encounter with the mascot,
Lester.
And yeah, that slap was perfect.
I rewound that 4 times and was laughing out loud like an idiot.
And before I could stop laughing at that, that's when we get the dead possum hats. I wish this was the movie. Set the whole thing here.
But this is another Those examples of people not listening to Max, because Max says, "Leave me alone," and Lester's reaction is, "Oh, you need a hug." I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Who's your favorite possum?
Even him getting the live possum in his clothes. And then it just turns into a giant hoedown. Like, this is an acid trip Disney movie. And this is all I want right now. All I want.
Yeah, you gotta admit you love this movie, man. You just gotta admit it.
No, I did not love this movie. I love this scene.
Okay.
But the fact that it ends with Max getting mocked by everyone brings us right back to what we're doing here. And that's why this scene is absolutely amazing, because it gave me everything I wanted. It gave me laughs. It gave me cringes. I was slightly disturbed. And then it's like, hey, by the way, remember this? This is why this scene is effective, because this is the story we're telling. And I felt schooled. At 41 years old, I felt schooled by a Disney movie from the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was very impressed.
It's timeless. Yeah.
So Goofy confronts his son, and Max just snaps. My note here is what you brought up earlier, Sandro, and that is this entire plot would have been avoided with a simple conversation.
Yep. I don't have anything to expand on that. That was the whole point.
No, I know. I think this is where that is evident. The next day at their campsite, when Pete and PJ arrive.
So, like, Pete is a department store photographer.
Sure.
So where does he get the money for this thing?
This ballin' RV.
This thing is insane.
Oh, I would love it. As soon as the basketball court came out on the side, I'm like, I want this.
Yeah, of course. It's missing a wrestling ring.
Yeah, it has everything but.
Yeah. What are our thoughts on this RV setup?
Oh, amazing.
We just shared them.
Yeah,
Weren't
I
you
realized
listening?
that. Yes, I know. My notes are out of order. Let it go. Don't need to embarrass me about this. I've done it enough this episode. I just said I got schooled by a 1995 Goofy movie for
Calm down, dude. Calm down.
So it cuts down trees to make room for everything.
The clear cutting is a little bit it's a little bit much, but you got to make room for stuff, I guess.
But it's dramatic, and Pete's kind of dramatic.
Kind of.
It's like the door opens and you see his figure. It's almost like an alien landing.
Oh, I loved it. Thoughts on PJ revealing that everybody back home has heard about Max's lie? I actually felt so bad for him.
Yeah, I did too.
It's, again, great writing, not letting us forget that Max put himself in a horrible situation, as we've all done before.
Again, another relatable feeling, trying to impress people or impress somebody, and then it backfires on you.
And not just that it backfires, that it escalates and it starts growing. Like, it gets out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pete's advice to Goofy is to keep your kid under your thumb and they won't end up in the gutter. A bowling reference because of the bowling scene.
Mm-hmm.
What were your reactions to that one pin being left upright and Pete's tactic to get it knocked over for a perfect strike?
It fits exactly what he was talking about. But my favorite part is how much he celebrates. It's like he got the strike himself.
Pete really reminds me of Al Bundy.
No.
Yeah, he does. Emily, do you know Al Bundy?
I've definitely heard of Al Bundy. I'm just not super...
Married with Children.
Married with Children. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The father that thinks he knows how to be a father when he is absolutely the worst at it.
But he doesn't want to be a good father.
But he also doesn't want... I don't think Pete really wants to be a father either.
Yeah,
but that's a story for another time.
Sure, yeah.
So Goofy shows Max the perfect fishing cast, which ends up luring in Bigfoot.
Well, it's because it snags the steak.
Exactly. I love Bigfoot in anything.
This is probably the worst thing Pete does in this movie. All of the advice, like I said, doesn't come from a bad place, but they see Bigfoot and they just peace out of there, leaving Max and Goofy.
Mm-hmm. Emily, what's your take on Bigfoot here?
I love Bigfoot. I couldn't choose between Goofy and Bigfoot as my favorites, but he's just so entertaining. He's not what you expect, which is this whole movie. It's not what you would expect. So
Perfectly said.
My only thought is that I'm sad he wasn't in the final dance sequence with Powerline.
That would have been fantastic.
Swinging around on the rope like Max was.
I don't know how you would write that in there, but I would have loved it if somebody did.
I fully believe that his Staying Alive dance was stolen by gorillas in their Clint Eastwood music video. I don't know if either of you remember seeing that.
I know the song. I don't remember the video.
Okay,
No,
I think.
Oh, you just blew my mind.
Thank you, Justin. You see it, don't you?
I do.
Emily, are you a Bigfoot fan in other things, or just a Goofy movie?
Basically just a Goofy movie.
I understand this is probably not a question you expected to be asked, but
No, you kind of caught me off guard with that one.
I love Bigfoot so much. That made me I want to know if you two agree with me. The animation of Bigfoot chasing everyone is actually very disturbing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's supposed to be, right?
Well, yeah, but I found in this one short scene, the animation was so smooth that it actually felt uncomfortable. It was extremely well done. It might have been Frank Welker also. His voice is unnerving.
He's just grunting and stuff.
I know, but it works. It works, man.
Okay.
And Max and Goofy getting stuck in the car. Perfect. Bigfoot rooting through their stuff and ending up with underwear on his head.
And he finds it hilarious.
I found it hilarious.
Same with the sock puppet show.
Yes.
Oh my god, the sock puppet show is so good. Like he pretends the one's hitting the other after an argument, and then his head pops up and he's just laughing. That's how I was laughing when it happened.
Oh, me too.
Good.
And then he runs away and he still has them.
That's so good.
It gets kind of dark when you realize he's just messing with these two people that he's trying to kill, though.
You don't know that.
Yeah, good. Decent idea. But then we get that staying alive.
If he caught them, maybe he would have just tried to join their dance sequence. You don't know that.
Well, we get the staying alive dance sequence after that, and that is gold.
Exactly.
So Goofy reminisces about how Max used to spell out words with his alphabet soup. Hi, Dad Soup.
Hi, Dad Soup.
Extremely touching.
It is very touching, and a scene that I actually found like kind of slow and not that interesting as a child. But like watching it now as an adult, as a parent, it just tugged at my heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assumed as a father now that it really hit you hard.
They're like a lot different for sure, right?
I love how it's completely broken up, though. Like, both of them are attempting to apologize, and then Bigfoot just goes to sleep on the car.
Yep.
And Max can't sleep because Goofy and Bigfoot are snoring. Which is an amazing visual. The audio is fantastic.
I wouldn't need them to be snoring to not be able to sleep. Bigfoot is on my car.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah.
But he tries to write an apology letter to Roxanne. Honesty. Max growing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm.
Because giving up on that, he alters Goofy's drawn route to the lake, instead leading them to Los Angeles.
Which is like the ultimate desperate move. Like Goofy would be too stupid to realize that the map leads to LA.
Well, it's complete disrespect for your father, of course.
Yeah.
Next up is our diner scene. I really enjoyed this. Max thinking that his father's about to call him out on changing the map, but instead Goofy is being or trying to be the best father that he can and entrusting his son with the map, and now he's the trip's navigator. So now Max chooses all of the stops as well, and we get a montage where the two are finally bonding.
Well, there's just an absolutely beautiful part of it where they're going to places like amusement parks. And you see Max looks over at Goofy and realizes that it's not for him. And then they go to the yarn house. So like he's also starting to realize that it's a two-way street because they both needed to get past that barrier.
Yes, I agree. I'm just so impressed with the writing for the character of Max because of that, because this is all false pretenses. Goofy has no idea what's going on. He would never expect his son to try and betray him this way. And Max goes along with it, and he enjoys it for the most part, where he's making all the choices. He's doing everything he wants to do. And yes, Andrew, you're right. Finally, House of Yarn, realizing that maybe what he's doing is not the smartest thing. This is time for the both of them. And I find that comes up in the mime scene, too, which I thought was incredibly
hilarious.
The piano falls on the mime.
Oh my God, exactly. Yes. You want to get a good belly laugh, have a piano fall on a mime. I'm in.
And then they just both walk away whistling.
Yeah, nobody's even checking on them.
Yeah.
It's so much my humor.
Let's just walk away now.
That's so good. Sorry. So, was that the favorite bonding moment for both of you?
No.
What was your favorite bonding moment?
We'll get to it.
Okay, Emily, have we hit yours yet?
The Hi Dad soup scene when, Goofy's about to go to sleep and he turns over and then Max taps him on the shoulder and hands him the cup and it says Hi Dad on the bottom.
That's kind of like the first olive branch when, you feel like all hope is lost and it gets rekindled there. It's a powerful moment.
Yeah. I have to say you two are changing my opinion on this film.
Yay!
It's the film. It's not us. It's the film.
No,
you just didn't take the time when you were watching it to get past your barriers and accept that it's a two-way street with the movie. You got to give as much as you get.
You calm down back there.
All back.
No.
The trip is a two-way street, and then he just used that on you? Ooh, that's good.
I don't know if we're going to make it to 150 episodes. This is a 3-on-1 moment here. I don't know how I feel about this.
Just have fun with it, Ben. Just have fun with it.
That night at the motel, Pete and PJ reappear.
Where are they going that they're like constantly behind them?
I don't know. I always kind of felt, like they were going to go to the same lake, but that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, how would they know? Because Goofy didn't say where exactly they were going, and Max didn't even know they were going, so it's not like, PJ would tell Pete.
Not to mention they got a day head start when they left them to Bigfoot. Like they should be in front of them.
Where did they go?
I'd never considered that. I'm curious to know about like the motel room setup, the underwater theme. Until you see the weird nightlight. Nobody else found that weird?
The mermaid?
It's just another one of Max's ridiculous stops. You're not supposed to read too much into it, Ben.
Yeah, I know, but the Little Mermaid?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Also constant name checks to Walt Disney. But Pete wants to hook up RV to Goofy's power. And this is where he overhears that Max changed the map to... and rats to Goofy. Dejected, the giant dog man goes to bed without talking to his son.
Well, he doesn't necessarily believe Pete until he's in the car and the map falls out and he sees it for himself. Because he doesn't want to believe Pete over his son.
I love that he fully chooses not to until the glove compartment breaks open and then he actually sees it. It wasn't an active choice. He chose to believe Max over what Pete told him. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, there's that innocence and that naivety of Goofy that I love so much, is that he wants his son to accept him so much that he's willing to trust him that much.
Well, that's probably why him and Pete can, say be friends or whatever, for lack of a better term, is because Goofy will constantly look for the best part of people, and he just doesn't want to accept the negatives.
Yeah.
It's interesting because in that scene, Goofy says, "Oh, Max loves me," and then Pete says, "Hey, my son respects me."
Yeah, it's a clear difference.
You both just floored me with that one.
Okay.
No, in a very good way.
Okay.
Very, very good way. Next day, back on the road. When hitting the junction that will lead them either to the lake or LA, Goofy lets Max pick right or left. And Max picks left, which will take them to LA. The look on Goofy's face says everything.
Yeah, because it was the moment of truth time. Yeah. He was going to know at that moment whether Max was going to continue with deceiving him or tell him the truth.
Intense, which really caught me off guard. But I don't think I've ever seen Goofy look incredibly angry and disappointed before in anything.
Well, he was heated.
Right? It pulled me into the movie even more.
Well, it literally broke his heart. Literally. Yeah. It was in pieces.
Well, it has to be something really bad if Goofy isn't Goofy.
They angrily pull over and Goofy storms to a lookout point. Max slumps against the car, sending it rolling down the road, but they catch up to it as it goes over a cliff and they tumble into a river. Which, honestly, you two, it does not seem like the right time to have a heated heart-to-heart.
When else are you going to do it?
When you're not struggling to stay alive.
You got to talk about something, man.
Yeah, no, what you have to do is try and keep your head above water and breathe.
Well, you might not have another chance. That would be the really dark version of this movie.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
That'd be amazing. Oh my God. That'd be great. The movie just ends with both of them dead.
But it puts them in a situation that they can't just escape, and they're forced to talk to each other and finally confront these issues.
Well, at least they know that the best way to deal with it is to sing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because we get another musical number.
Yeah. Do you know what the song is called?
No.
Oh, it's just like the other ones. It's one of the main lines in the song.
That's fine. What is it?
Nobody else but you.
Perfect.
They're not difficult, names. They're not.
I wasn't striving for the names of the songs.
I want this soundtrack.
It's yeah. I'm sure you can find it.
It's on Spotify.
There you go. Problem solved.
Okay. All right.
It's just another heart-to-heart bonding scene. Honestly, I'm not a fan.
Why?
Although there was one amazing line.
Okay.
Though he seems intoxicated, he's just highly animated.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a weird one for Disney, but I liked it. I liked that they went there.
See, what I love is that now that they've finally communicated and Max is essentially ready to give up, it's Goofy that's like, no, let's make this happen now. Right?
Finally. Yes.
Finally. But they needed these extreme circumstances to break down those barriers and finally get to the root of it. And when revealed, Goofy is on board with supporting his son. It's beautiful.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, Max telling him everything that he said and did, and Goofy just saying he'll take care of everything was fantastic. And then they encounter a waterfall. I don't know about you two, but I've always hated the waterfall scene in movies.
Yeah, you know what my problem with this scene is?
A waterfall?
Well, they go over the waterfall. Obviously, Max saves Goofy by showing him that he's learned the perfect cast and that he has picked up things from his son, from his dad. Because the whole point of this trip, in Goofy's eyes, was to share knowledge like his grandfather did with him. The car goes over the falls, but after the concert, they pull up to Roxanne's in the car.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, how?
Again, I was 5 when I watched this.
It's a good point. I mean, they do a very good job at breaking apart and reassembling a father-son bond, and then negate to explain how a car survives a trip over a waterfall. Although Goofy does try and kick the bumper back into place. The perfect cast to save Goofy, I enjoy that. I really do. It seems like it's way too rushed, though, to get to the Powerline concert. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, like how did they get into the music equipment?
Exactly.
I would have liked to see that.
Even like a build-up into like the lineup, the crowd outside the show. We just cut to the performance is already live. Like, he is on stage.
Well, they show the outside of the arena for a couple seconds.
They do, yes.
But that's not the point of this movie. Like, at that point, it's inconsequential. It's their trip, not how they got there.
I know. And this is 100% a me issue. Because any movie today, it's most likely live action. If like the whole point is, maybe I'm just thinking about things like Detroit Rock City, where getting to the show and the build-up leading into the show is such a massive point of the plot that I just kind of feel like it's a trope now. So when we just cut to surviving going over a waterfall to now you're in the venue of the main lie that Max told, the big problem, it seemed incredibly rushed, but you're both correct. We didn't need that. It just felt rushed to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they sneak into the show in instrument cases. Show's live during this montage. Goofy ends up on stage first, gets electrocuted, then uses the perfect cast as a dance move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I should have a problem with all of this, and I don't.
You absolutely should not.
It just makes sense. Max hits the stage, and everyone back home sees him on pay-per-view. And then we just cut to the Goofs returning to town, and
but
Max
when
going
they're
to
dancing at the party, Bobby sprays Stacy with cheese.
As one does.
And she's into it.
That's where it all begins for them.
It doesn't make sense.
Makes sense.
Because they're kind of weird. And then the two weirdos kind of just find each other in a weird way.
That's what I was doing wrong when I was younger. I didn't spray women with spray cheese.
A lot of this movie, this is what catches you off guard in this movie.
I'm just having fun with it, dude.
Fair enough. Max apologizes to Roxanne for lying, and she says he didn't have to lie. She already liked him.
As soon as she heard him laugh, oh.
Yeah. And then Goofy's car explodes, leading Max to introduce Roxanne to his father, and we roll credits.
Don't need to introduce Roxanne to her father. She's gone after this.
Yeah. That's it. That's the end of the movie.
It's impressive that the car even got them back there, let alone exploded at that point. Yeah, but then Roxanne disappears as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's had a couple cameos since, but not like a prominent character by any means.
Yeah. Does anyone want to guess how much this movie cost?
I couldn't even tell you how much animated movies cost.
I have no idea.
$18 million.
Oh, I was thinking 20. I should have said it.
Was it a success, though? How much did it make?
42.
Close.
45?
37.6.
Oh.
As far as reviews go, I think you're both going to be disappointed, but I'm right on par here. IMDb out of 10, how much did it get?
6.8.
5.
6 point what?
8.
And 5?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 5.
6.9.
Nice.
Going to Rotten Tomatoes, percentage of positive reviews from critics.
47.
Emily?
Something's giving me like 35 vibes.
59.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And audience score?
81.
90.
71.
Oh.
These people don't know what they're talking about.
Or do they?
No.
Rude.
All right, well, that brings us to our awards. So, Emily, if you would be so kind as our guest to start off, who did you have as your least favorite character?
Pete.
Yeah.
He just really annoyed me throughout the movie.
Okay. I mean, you're entitled to that opinion. It's wrong, but you're
Yeah.
entitled to it. Ben,
I agree with Emily.
you're also wrong.
Okay. Who do you pick?
It's Principal Mazur. The difference between him and Pete is what he did was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
He sets off this whole course of events, which of course leads to a fantastic movie, but he sets off this whole course of events by completely filling Goofy's head with these ridiculous ideas. It's manipulative and kind of damaging.
That's everybody in this movie except for Goofy.
Well, just saying. Just saying.
Okay.
Okay, well, Emily, who did you have as your favorite character?
It was a tie between Bigfoot and Goofy.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go for a tie between Bigfoot and Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's so good. So is Bigfoot. I actually went with Max on this one.
Oh.
I think that like his peaks and valleys are so prominent in the movie that once he actually experiences his growth, it's a character that you can really get behind. And there's a lot of sympathy earlier in it. I definitely think that maybe he's not the most entertaining character, but he's definitely the best character. He has the most depth in this for sure.
He grows the most in the movie out of every character.
I don't know, he kind of looked like the same size from the start to the end. Ben has to deal with that all the time.
The dad jokes.
You don't understand. You have no idea.
What was your favorite or most memorable line?
Mine? How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?
Apparently that took him so many takes. He was just never satisfied with the performance that took like the most takes of any of his lines in the movie.
It's so relatable. I'm a sleepy talker. So if I'm really, really overtired, I'll say things like that in my sleep too.
Oh, same.
It's also kind of the scenario that emphasizes that as well, because this is like a panic moment. Max is worried he's going to get caught. He's trying to finish the map, and Goofy's stirring, and he gets up, and you think, oh, maybe he caught him. And instead, it's a ridiculous sleep-talking line.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
No, I'm right there with Emily too. Like, you wake me up first thing in the morning and I'm not ready for it, I'm going to say something completely stupid. So, how many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon is definitely something I would probably say, and I related to that. And yeah, definitely memorable line.
Oh, okay then. Well, I definitely did not agree with you guys, though it is a great line.
Shocking.
I love in this movie when they do kind of push the envelope a little bit. And at Lester's, when the mascot approaches Max, Max is just saying to himself, my life is a living. And as he goes into that H sound, Lester's like, hello, little buddy.
Who's your favorite possum?
But it's just like, yeah, because they're not going to have Max say, oh, my life is a living hell. Yeah. But having Lester come in, and then it's just the exclamation, the icing on the cake is when he slaps him after that. It's so good. All right, so last award would be your favorite or most memorable scene. What do you got, Emily?
For me, it was when Max finally kind of blows up at Goofy. He says, I'm not your little boy anymore. I have my own life now. And Goofy says, I know that. I just want to be a part of it.
Oh, so good.
And it takes me back because today is actually my dad's birthday, of all days, to kind of do this and watch this movie. And I just remember him, as growing up as a teenager, he wanted to do all these things with me. And I was just like, no, Dad, I don't want to do this right now, because I always thought there would be more time and things like that. And he ended up passing away in 2014, but it tugged at my heartstrings, and it just brings me back to, that's probably how my dad felt at one point. I just want to be a part of your life. And, yeah.
It's such good writing.
It is.
It is.
It was just such a pivotal point in the movie. Like, Goofy finally is honest with Max.
Well, that's like the first crack in the ice.
Yeah, it's such a vulnerable moment.
Ben?
Mine is nothing that deep.
It doesn't have to be.
Honestly, it's what I already brought up before, and that is the angled shot of Bigfoot chasing everyone.
All right, then.
The animation is so smooth. Frank Welker's grunting is terrifying, and what is a really funny film. I love that they were able to put in a slightly disturbing scene outside of Lester's Possum Park. You?
Oh, for me, it's the Powerline concert. I don't know how you can not just love that scene, especially when they finally get on stage and all the friends are cheering, and you can see Roxanne has just got that loving look in her eye, and just Max and Goofy, you get that shot. It's even like zoomed out that you can see the kids watching it on TV, and the Max and Goofy are like back to back on stage, and they finally reach that bonding.
Such a mark.
Pete spits out his beer onto the TV.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Ben. Was it a problem to enjoy something that was meant to be enjoyed? God, just so negative.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, that is my favorite scene. All right, so let's get into our final thoughts and recommendations.
This movie is such a trip. It makes you feel so many different emotions, but it's not too intense. It has like the singing and the comedic moments, but it's a good movie to watch and experience at different points throughout your life. I think as a kid, and then as a teenager, and then as an adult, I've developed my opinion is always different when I've watched it over the years. When I watched it as a kid, I didn't take it as seriously. I thought it was funny. I liked the characters in it. And then when I watched it as a teenager, I identified more with Max. Oh, Goofy, why can't you just let your kid be a kid and enjoy his life? And then now as an adult who is wanting to start a family at some point in my life and to have a good relationship with my future children, I can see myself wanting them to accept me the way Goofy wanted Max to accept him. So it's one of those movies that you can watch at different stages in your life and relate to.
Perfectly said. Ben, how do you want to ruin that?
How do I want to ruin that?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. Everything Emily just said is true. Now, at the same time, I found that this movie was incredibly painful to watch in certain segments. Making notes on this movie is something that nobody should have to do. There are a lot of fallible moments in both writing, in animation, storytelling. It goes on. The strengths in the film, though, are surprisingly profound. I was not looking forward to talking about this movie because I did not like it. Though the conversation we had actually made me really appreciate certain things that I missed or ignored intentionally. Is it a movie to recommend?
Absolutely.
No, that's a tough one. It depends on who you're talking to, because this is not a movie for everyone. This is like a proto Shrek for me, in that, yes, there's humor that kids will get, there's humor that adults will get, but I find that the main storyline, the big storyline, is not Max's, it's Goofy's. And that's for the adults. So who is the movie made for? I mean, that's up for debate. It just kind of seems a little muddled to me. And if they picked one over the other, I think it could have been a stronger film, but then it's all about marketing. Make it more of a kids movie, make it more of an adult's film. You're not going to make an adult Goofy movie, so lean heavily into Max's story more. I think they were reaching way too far. Is it a good movie? Before this, I would have said no. Now, yeah, it is. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. If you've seen it before, let nostalgia take over.
Yeah, I gotta agree with what Emily said. Like, this is the this is the perfect movie for any audience. And I know that you said that the main story is goofy, but I actually think there isn't a main story between the two. And I think that Max and Goofy's storyline, much like the theme and the message in this movie, leans on each other to create a product that is greater than the sum of its parts. And you can watch it as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, and get different things out of this movie, but all of them are positive. And I think that at this short runtime, it is an easy watch for anybody, and it should be at least experienced at one point. Now, the difficulty comes in is recommending it to which audience, say, would be the best for. I think you should experience it at all of these, so obviously the first one should be as a kid, but man, it's such a good movie that could be watched so many times, and I have watched it so very many times. And you got to give a shout out to the soundtrack. I mean, it is so good. So many of the songs will stick with you. They're fun. They have meaning in the songs. On the Open Road, Nobody But You actually gives you parts of the storyline in the lyrics of the song. The writing is so strong in so many parts. There's so many moments that will move you, that will catch you off guard, that everybody needs to watch this movie. Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, no, that's just very well said. You sounded very passionate about that. I was into it.
I think you're completely wrong.
Well, you're allowed to be wrong as well, Ben.
As you state every week.
All right. So before I get into my little spiel, Emily, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us for this movie. It was an absolute pleasure. I'm glad that you are proof positive that people like me are right about this movie and people like Ben are wrong about this movie.
Well, I am very, very happy you asked me to be a part of this. I could talk about this movie all day long, so it was great to be able to at least talk about it for an hour and 35 minutes.
I truly appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Anytime, guys.
I hope I didn't trash one of your favorite movies. There are so many strengths to it. It just wasn't for me.
And I'll see, but the thing is, during the course of this movie, we turned you more than you turned us.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And it's interesting because anybody that I've talked about this movie with has always had, a positive opinion about it. So it was very interesting for me to hear a different side.
It does make you think outside of the box.
Yeah.
Normally Sandra's the negative one, so it's been a unique episode.
And I guess shout out to the cameos by our good friend Justin Newhook.
Love you.
Classic.
So that was our thoughts on a Goofy movie. If you'd like to share your thoughts with us, you can hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter at BSBargainBin, Facebook.com/BSBargainBin, BSBargainBin.com, and YouTube.com/@BSBargainBin. Merch is available. You can find any one of our 4 t-shirt designs at Redbubble. Link is on our website. Ben.
Yes.
Next week, we are hitting a milestone with our 150th episode.
Yeah, big 150.
What are we watching?
Well, it's a big number. 150 is a big number. We've been through a lot. We've covered a lot of great and terrible films, but I've never really held your feet to the fire. And next week, we are going to make you face your biggest fear, and we're talking 1992's Candyman.
Have you ever heard of Candyman? If you look in the mirror, you say his name 5 times.
In cities everywhere,
Candyman,
they whisper his name.
Right. Candyman.
It's just a story.
Candyman.
Candyman.
Just a ghost story.
Candyman.
An entire community starts attributing the daily horrors of their lives to a mythical figure.
The legend first appeared in 1890. He was attacked, mutilated, and burned to death. Poor Candyman.
Helen, a woman died in there. Leave it.
Everyone knows he isn't real.
That's modern oral folklore.
Everyone. Except Helen Lyle.
Bernadette.
It ain't safe around here. I don't scare too easy.
Wanna know about Ruthie Jean? They ain't never gonna catch him.
Who?
Candyman.
Who is that?
I came for you.
Do I know you?
Now, she is about to discover
Helen? Get out! Get out!
what's behind the mystery.
I'm sick.
What's behind the legend.
Listen, he's under the bed!
And most terrifying of all,
Come with me.
what's behind the mirror.
He's here.
Candyman, you don't have to believe. Just beware.
Until next week, have a good one.
All the best.